Hello, I'm Jeff Brandon. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the PASC Region F teleconference. Here in the audience today are 450 students from a 5-county area in southeastern Pennsylvania. And joining us today live via satellite from Channel 1 studios in Los Angeles, California, are Channel 1 anchors Lisa Ling and Crystal Green.
Hey. Hi, guys. Hey, guys. Hey, Region F, how do you feel? We feel good! We feel so good! We feel fine! All of the time! Wow, okay. Energy.
See, it's earlier on the West Coast, so we don't have nearly as much energy.
Energizing.
Like, peeling our eyes open. No, kidding.
Great to have you with us today. And in the audience joining me, fielding questions from all of you students, are Sandy Ritter and Jen Clementi. And since today's conference theme is communications, we thought what better way to talk to two great communicators like Lisa and Crystal, and we'd like all of you to feel free to ask them questions. It'll be most informative if they're answering the things that you really want to have answered. If you've got a question, please just raise your hand. Sandy or Jen will seek you out, we'll get you on the air, and you'll be able to ask your questions live via satellite. Lisa and Crystal, to get us started today, could you tell us a little bit about Channel 1 and what exactly you do there?
Okay.
Sure. Well, first of all, this is really exciting for us. Crystal and I were just talking about how nervous we are because we can't see you. But this is a very interesting thing. We've never taken part in something like this. But for those of you who don't have Channel 1 or know what it is, Channel 1 is seen in about 12,000 schools across the United States by the largest teenage audience in the country. And Crystal and I and the other reporters on the show cover everything from breaking news to features, to international stories, to teen-related stories, and it's in the classroom every single day. So those of you who do see Channel 1, you guys see kind of a lot of us in the classroom.
How did you get started at Channel 1?
Well, I did the Student Produced Week. And every year Channel 1 has a Student Produced Week where students write, direct, produce the entire show. And so I sent my tape in to be a student reporter, and to be an anchor for the week, actually, and I was chosen. And then at the end of the week, they asked me to stay as a student reporter, and then at the end of that season, they liked my work and they asked me to stay full time. So, and I've been here ever since, and that was 1995.
Yeah, some of the reporters on our show have graduated from college, gone to graduate school, and so on, and actually worked in various markets around the country as news reporters. Crystal and I both started at 18. Were you 17 when you started?
I was 17.
She was 17. I was
right.
18 when we started at Channel 1. So we've been here for a long time. I used to host a teen magazine show, which was nationally syndicated. It was called Scratch. And after I did that for 3 years, I got the job here at Channel 1. And I've been here ever since.
Ever since, both of us.
How has Channel 1 changed since you started there?
That's good. You could better answer that
I'll
than me,
take that one because I've been here for a long time. Initially, Channel 1 didn't cover the kinds of stories that we're covering now. And when I started, there was an active effort to try and cover the world, essentially. And what we try to do is be the vehicles through which our audience, students like you guys, can experience what things are like around the world. And we try to focus on current events and things of interest around the country and stories that are interesting to young people.
Exactly.
Is there a typical day at Channel 1, or is every day different for you?
Well, I'll say every day is different because I'm in school while I'm doing this. So it's like with schoolwork and Channel 1, things get really chaotic at times. But every day I would say is a different challenge because, like I said, with school and then coming here, you have a something different to work for. Always researching stories, always trying to reach the next level so that you can relay the news to the audience in the most effective way possible so that they're always interested, because that's what we're all about, keeping young people interested in the news.
Crystal,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
That's the most exciting thing about working in the news business, and that is that you never go into the office and leave without doing something entirely different from what you did the day before. I mean, news changes, news happens something new happens literally
every day,
every hour, and that's what's exciting, that we can work on one story one day and the next day work on something just completely opposite or entirely different.
Super, and we have a question from the audience now. Jen?
Okay, this is Lisa from Penfield.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. Our school district doesn't have Channel 1. How would our school district go about getting it?
Let's see. I would have your administrators contact people here at Channel 1 in LA, and they'll refer you. If you call information and ask for Channel 1 in Los Angeles, they'll put you through to the proper people, but it's handled through people in New York. That's where our corporate offices are.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Sandy, you have a question.
Yes, hi. I have a question from Paul from Penwood Middle School.
Yeah. How long have you been working for Channel 1?
I've been working for Channel 1 now for 3.5 years.
In May, it'll be 6 years. A long time, most of my life, practically.
Right?
Jen, let's go back to you.
This is Amy, also from Penfield.
Hi, Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Hi. Are there student announcers that are on Channel 1?
Are there student reporters?
Yeah.
Well, Crystal started when she was a student, still in high school, and Tanakis McLean, he started this year. He was a senior in high school last year, and every single year we have what's called Student Produced Week. It's sort of a big contest where students submit tapes and letters, and we literally allow students from all over the country to produce our show, direct, produce, write, report, operate the cameras, do the graphics for an entire week. We fly them out, and it's a lot of hard work. And every now and then, if there's a student who we think is just spectacular, we'll keep that student out here, and he or she will work until the end of the school year. But if we have remarkable students like Crystal, we'll keep them for a longer time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Sandy, you have another question there from the audience.
Yes, I have a question from Jillian from Avon Grove.
Hi, I was wondering what the two of you would have gotten involved with if this Channel 1 hadn't come about. Would you have still gotten involved with teens and with news and stuff like that?
I definitely probably would still be involved with teenagers. I do volunteer work outside of Channel 1, and so I work a lot in the community with helping young people out. And so I'd definitely be doing that in the community, and then just going to college. And I guess, I don't know what my major would be. It probably would be broadcast journalism, because I was really thinking about that before I entered college. So yeah, I would still be working with teenagers now.
I have no idea what I'd be doing. I'd probably still be in school, and actually my cousin passed away of liver cancer a couple of years ago, and at the time I sort of thought to myself, if I weren't doing Channel 1, I would probably start a fund in her name to promote awareness about cancer, because it's something that has become really important to me. And my sister will be graduating from college this year, and she'll actually be starting that. And it's just become something that at some point I would like to do, for sure.
Thank you. That's really interesting.
Thanks.
And Jen, you have another question?
This is Nolan from Springton Lake.
Hi, Nolan.
Hey.
Hi. You said you've both worked there for a number of years, and in our student leadership forum, we did exercises where we showed how schools have gotten kind of worse over the years. Have you noticed those changes as much as I have?
Schools have gotten worse?
Worse
Yeah,
over the
as in
years.
violence related and things like that.
I don't think schools have necessarily gotten worse. I think that there are a lot of teachers out there who really deserve a lot of credit. I think it's become harder, increasingly harder for teachers, because lately there have been a lot of budget cutbacks and so on. And I think schools are really suffering, because I know that a lot of art programs and athletics are being cut out. And I think that makes it really difficult. And there's some teachers out there who really kind of embrace their students, and they take the opportunity to really inject their personal touch. And where a school may lack in certain areas, a good teacher or group of teachers or a group of students can really inject something entirely different. And for me, I always believe that challenge is the best way to motivate. And unfortunately, where money has been a factor and been difficult for a lot of schools to acquire, I think if people look at the opportunity and see the opportunity to really motivate and make the faults strengths, I think that you can make anything positive and you can learn from those things.
Thank you.
That's a good answer. Sandy, you have another question.
Yes, I have a question from Tom from Upper Marion Middle School.
Hi. Were you two ever on student council, like a lot of people here?
When I was in high school, I was a member of the associate student body, and I was a member of ASB, associate student body. I'm trying to remember, but I was a member of student council when I was in high school. What about you?
I was also a member of student council. I wasn't in it until my senior year, but I was working on this teen show, so I actually missed a lot of school, so I wasn't as able to get involved in a lot of school activities during high school.
Well, we certainly have active students here today, and I know that you can't see us, Lisa and Crystal, but there's about 50 hands in the air, so I know we won't have any shortage of questions between now and the end of the program.
Okay.
Good.
Great.
Jen, you have another question.
Yes, this is Sarah from Ballackinwood Middle School.
What is the youngest teenager that has ever produced one of your shows?
Well, I know it would definitely have to be during Student Produced Week, but I'm trying to remember. I guess maybe 16?
Well, we've had some middle schools actually working for Student Produced Week as reporters. But in terms of producing, I would say about 16.
About 16, because during Student Produced Week, almost all the pieces you see there are either produced or co-produced by students. So I would say probably the youngest would be about 16.
But anyone is welcome to apply. I mean, middle school students and high school students. I mean, this year we had a lot of older students, mostly seniors, but in previous years we've had, students who were freshmen and students even in middle school apply.
Because when I was in it, the youngest girl was 12, so.
Thank you.
Sorry about that one.
Thanks.
And Sandy's got another question for us.
Yeah, I have a question from Jared from Murray Avenue Junior High.
Do you think Channel 1 affects kids' lives?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Do you think Channel
1 affects kids' lives?
I do, because when you see people on, when you see your peers on television on a regular basis, and they're dealing with the same issues that you're dealing with, specifically, especially when we do things like eating disorders or teen suicide, I think it matters when you know that you have people out there who are going through the same thing you're going through. And sometimes it makes your perspective different, and it makes it a little easier to cope because you know there's other people out there who are going through what you're going through, and you're not alone. So I do think it affects people's lives because I think it gives them an opportunity to have something on there every day that they can relate to. And so I think it has a profound impact on teenagers. And we get a lot of emails that let us know that as well.
Yeah, the best advice I can give to teenagers in our audience is try to know a lot of things. I know that you're very busy and you're probably overwhelmed with homework and extracurricular activities, but every now and then try to pick up a newspaper. I'm sure a lot of you guys do, but I know that it was hard for me in high school to watch the news and read the newspaper every day. But when you graduate from high school, I'm telling you that you can never underestimate the importance of just knowing a lot of things, because you're going to have to interact with adults and people in the professional world, and you're going to be expected to be aware of things that are going on in not only your country but around the world.
Thank you. Jen, do you have another question from the audience?
Yes, this is Brian from Springton Lakes.
Hi.
Hi.
Are there any questions that you won't cover because of their content?
There certainly are. I mean, we have to use our discretion. Because our show is seen in schools, we have to be a little careful. But at the same time, you know, students don't like to be talked down to, and so we don't use a condescending approach when we gather news, but we definitely are conscious about some of the stories we cover because, for example, you know, things involving prostitution or you know, things that probably wouldn't be discussed that much in schools. Those are things that, in all likelihood, we will just kind of stray from.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I'd like to thank all the students here for their great attentiveness. We have several more minutes left, so please keep your hands raised for additional questions, but you're doing a great job today with asking some very intelligent and probing questions, and Sandy has another one.
Yes, I have a question from Anthony from Stewart Middle School.
Okay.
Yeah, do y'all got any goals to set before you reach a certain age?
Okay, any other questions? I'm sorry, what was the question?
One more time, Anthony?
Do you have any goals to reach before you reach a certain age?
Oh, we have any goals to
Let's see, by the time I'm 30, I want to be a millionaire. No, I'm kidding.
Be a millionaire. Let me see. I think by the time I want to graduate, and I would really like to get into a career in television and film. So I guess you could say by the time I'm 25, I would like to be behind the scenes, producing for television, either news or other things on TV, you know, sitcoms, different things like that. So, and also writing as well.
Do you have any goals to reach by a certain age? I think it's really important to set goals for yourself, but at the same time, I always believe that, you know, I like to think that I'm living for today because you never know. And I go back to my cousin, for example. I mean, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or in a week. And I like to just cherish the time that I'm spending right now with all 400 of you guys and really live for the day. I mean, that to me, that's a very important thing to do.
Lisa, as someone who's a few years older than most of the folks here in the audience, I can vouch for what you just said. There is nothing better than living for today.
Absolutely.
And Jen, you have another question in the audience.
Yes, I do. This is Jessica from Hatboro Horsham.
Hi, I wanted to know where you get the ideas for your feature stories.
Well, some of them are given to us by the producers, and then some other stories we end up pitching ourselves. Either, you know, they're just stories that are of interest to us, stories that we may read in the newspaper we think the teenagers should know about. So it comes from both ends, the producers and ourselves.
And a lot of students will send in story ideas, and this year we've made a concerted effort to try and cover more stories that are actually pitched to us from students. I mean, there are certain issues that are going on in schools or, you know, with people personally that we just don't know about, and we often get letters from students and email from students asking us to cover a certain thing, and we really try to do that.
Thank you.
And Sandy, another question.
Yes, I have a question from Nathaniel from William Tennant High School.
I was wondering how Channel 1 links the students of today with the future of tomorrow.
How does Channel 1 link students? I think we really try to broaden people's horizons. We try to tell students about things that they otherwise may not know about, and we try to take them to different parts of the world and affiliate them and acquaint them with issues that are taking place in our country and in the world. And I think that it's very, very important to be aware of these things for the future. And so, you know, it's an educational process, but also it's just raising issues, giving you things to think about, and who knows, maybe later on in 5 years, you'll remember the story that Joel Brand did in Chechnya, or that Tracy Smith did in Sudan when she was talking to child soldiers, and you'll remember that story and apply it to something that you're doing in the future.
And even as far as leadership is concerned, like when we do stories about kids in their communities who have taken initiative and started homeless food drives or book drives or, you know, helping tutor children. I mean, these are things that may inspire kids in our audience to say, okay, well, I'm going to take the initiative and do that same thing in my community. So it, you can prepare for leadership as well. So all of it is relative.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you. Jan, another question for our guests.
This is John from Chester High School.
Do you ever visit any of the schools to watch your show?
Yeah, we do. We do visits of different schools, especially when we're doing, you know, of course, the student stories we'll visit a lot. I haven't done a lot of visiting schools outside of the schools I've had to go to because of a story, but I know there are some reporters who have done that.
Yeah, we definitely try to. It's really important for us to go into schools and find out what you guys want to see. We try to make an effort, the entire staff, whether it's people who are writers or people who are producers or people who work in graphics. I mean, we try and encourage everyone to go out and actually talk to the students.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'd have an open invitation from just about any district here in the Philadelphia area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy, another question.
Yes, I have a question from Jen from Palisades.
Where do you see communication going in the future, and do you expect more of this type of communication within the schools?
I think that what you're doing is amazing. I mean, I think that you guys are really pioneers of this kind of technology. I mean, as you know, technology is changing rapidly, and personally, I've been using email and the internet for the past couple of years, and can you even imagine your life without it? I was trying to think the other day about what I would do if I didn't have a fax machine, and now it's become such an essential component of the workplace that what you would do is like unfathomable. And I think that that's also something that young people and old people and everyone can embrace, and that is the changing technology, and try to know as much as you can about how it's changing, why it's changing, and try and evolve as technology is evolving.
Lisa and Crystal, as we're winding down here, we'd like to take one or two more questions. Jen, I see you have one ready for us.
This is Mike from Interboro.
Hi, Mike. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
You have a lot of fans, Mike.
We'll send you a picture of Mike.
Mark.
Okay.
I just wanted to know how you guys thought the internet changed the classroom.
Had the internet changed the classroom? Well, someone earlier asked about whether schools are getting worse. And what I think is great about the internet is that a school that has a lot of money and a school that has a little bit of money can all have access to the same kinds of information. And that is so crucial. I mean, in my high school, we had textbooks that were pretty far out of date, and it was difficult because it cost a lot of money that my school didn't have. And what is amazing about the internet is whether a school has a lot of computers or just a few, people still can communicate with one another through the internet and acquire the same kind of information. I mean, everyone can access the Channel 1 website as well as the ABC News website and get the same kind of information.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
We have about 2 minutes to go. Let's have one more question from the audience. Sandy, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question from Mark from Murray Avenue.
Hey,
What was
Mark.
your biggest influence when you were growing up?
I think my biggest influence is my mom, because I would say actually both my parents, because they're really determined. They're really individuals who are strong in education, and they always instilled in me that whatever I wanted to do, whatever I could dream, that I can do it. And I see them live their lives like that. Whatever they've always wanted to do, they've gone out and they've done that, and they've been successful. And even when they weren't as successful with different things, they've always gotten right back up and kept going. So I would definitely say my parents are my biggest influence, because they've instilled in me the initiative and the drive, to be motivated to get done what I feel I need to be doing, in life and everything.
That's really a hard question for me. Probably my grandmother. She came to this country. She was forced out of China in 1949, and she was a very highly educated woman who was forced to work in a restaurant, and she had to live in a converted chicken coop when she first came to this country. And she continued to work and persevere, and she eventually opened her own restaurant. And it's people who have had these struggles who I admire, because when you take someone who essentially goes from nothing to having something based on the experiences and what she had learned in her past, I mean, those are people who are hugely admirable.
Lisa, Crystal, we're out of time, but we are so appreciative that you have joined us today. Your articulate answers have been certainly informational. And how about a round of applause for Lisa Ling and Crystal Green from Channel 1.
Thank you so much. This has been fun. were great.
And thanks to all of you for the great questions and your attentiveness today. It's been a pleasure to bring you this live satellite teleconference. And thank you all for joining us. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Good job, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all. It's been a great program. We appreciate you taking the time to participate today.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.